let it shine all day through. Let it shine, shine, Spirit, let it shine, shine on you. Sing it again. Let my light shine in the nighttime. Let it shine all day through. Let it shine, shine, Spirit, let it shine, shine on you. Take it away, guys. Shine in the nighttime, let it shine all day through. Let it shine, shine, Spirit, let it shine, shine on you. Let it shine, shine on you.
Well, good morning and thank you for joining CSL Parker. I extend my warm welcome to our member community and to our global family. I'm Dr. Nadine Rogers, and I'm deeply grateful to be able to share the principles of living a spiritual life with you. And this month we begin a new theme, which is Wealth Everywhere, where we advocate for the infinite potential of spiritual truth within all people to create and live abundant lives. So I'm going to begin, as we do each week, with lighting the unity candle. And we do this knowing that light symbolizes the transformational power of spirit that lives within each one of us equally, uniting us all in this truth and in the courage to accept our capacity to expand our consciousness of acceptance and receive our divine inheritance. You know, here at CSL Parker, we practice spirituality every day. And we base this on the teachings of the Science of Mind and Spirit by its author, Dr. Ernest Holmes. He shares with us that his teaching is the correlations of the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelations of world religions applied to human needs and the aspirations of man. And so how that is relevant to us is that we live in a spiritual universe, and we are indeed spiritual beings having a human experience, and that everything we think we may lack or need only and ever is available right within us, right where we are. You know, being an all-inclusive community and teaching, we honor all mindful paths to the one, and are learning together how to celebrate and honor diversity, as well as rejoice and become stronger in the things that unite us. We learn to be a student with humility and awe in this vast power for good within us and within the world. And we come to understand as we walk each other home that we teach by how we live, and that how we live becomes our prayer. So we know that you are blessed right here and right now. And so we ask you just to sit back and relax and enjoy our time of music and meditation.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I
Dear ones, this is practitioner Jan Hobbs inviting you to join me for a prayerful meditation and to hear these words as your own. I take a deep breath, cleansing breath, in allowing Spirit to fill me up with the love and light of its divine energies. I exhale the same love and light of God into the universe, knowing I am one with my divine presence right here and right now. My heart fills to overflowing love and compassion for all my fellows. I joyfully receive the gifts of the Spirit in a new and revitalized mind, body, and soul. I am open and willing to be renewed as a holy and purified vessel for and as Spirit in the world now. I am the heart of Spirit, reflecting all divine qualities in, through, around, and for all I come in contact with daily. I am immune to the lower energies as they no longer serve me, and as I am in the world, but not of it. I embody the truth of who I am through the grace of God right here, right now. I experience and see the beauty and goodness of all life with unconditional love and respect for myself, my fellows, all beings and things in all its expressions. I share the unconditional love I receive from my divine with all life now. I am whole and perfect and complete, knowing I rest and am at peace in the loving embrace of God the Father. I embrace the joy that comes from the wells of holiness through the gifts of the Spirit now and always. I mirror the divine qualities for the world and for upliftment, lightening up, and enlightenment of all my fellows in the world now. Many are changed and thus uplift and affect others through the higher levels of consciousness. I am leading by my life example and words of love to all life through the heart. I am the master of my consciousness for divine right action in all matters of my life and in the world. I am not swayed from my spiritual path. I am grateful for my life exactly as it awakens and unfolds. I am grateful for this day of life and love. I welcome every hour of peace and ever new joy. Thank you, God, for all my blessings received yesterday, blessings of today, and blessings yet to come. Thank you, Spirit, for all my blessings and my unlimited potential now and forevermore. I surrender and release these words of truth into the universal mind, knowing it is already done in the mind of God, in my life now, and for all life, in abundance and harmony on all levels. And so it is. Amen.
I am one with God. I choose the joy of God. I practice the peace of God. I give the love of God. I am one with God. I choose the joy of God. I choose the joy of God. I practice the peace of God. I give the love of God. I am one with God. I choose the joy of God. Practice the peace of God. I give the love of God. I am. Choose the joy of God. Practice the peace of God. I give the love of God. I am one with God. I choose the joy of God. Practice the peace of God. I give the love of God. I am. I am.
Well, good morning to you all once again. And I'm so glad you've turned out to continue this exploration of November's theme called Wealth Everywhere. You know, I was looking for inspiration for today's message entitled The Waltz. And so I jumped on YouTube and I went straight to one of the Broadway versions of Hello, Dolly. I love musical theater. And it has within it a wonderfully uplifting, energetic scene where Bette Midler is teaching a young man to dance the waltz. So Bette Midler, who plays Dolly Levi, begins by saying, "It's very simple. Right foot touch, left foot touch, touch, under, back, around, touch, back, through, around, behind, out, over," and then he gets stuck as she's trying to bring her arm around his head, and she's going, "Release, release," and finally she casts him off and says, "Unfurl," and then he kind of falls all over the place, and she says, "Wonderful. Now let's go back to lesson 1." And then it continues, and she says, "Put your hand on her waist and stand with her right hand in your left, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. She lets him go, and he continues quite awkwardly stepping forward, saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, to which he exclaims so excitedly at the end, "I'm dancing!" and then he immediately falls. So Bette brings him back, and then she begins to sing to him as she's dancing. "Take someone whose arms you're in, hold on to her tight and spin, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And he breaks away and he says in a very high-pitched voice, "I'm dancing!" And then the music builds and Bette says, turn around, try floating in the air." And the young man twirls and jumps on the spot. And then he does these long stag leaps across the stage, very awkwardly through the air. And he ends with this, "Well, my heart is about to burst, and my head is about to pop, and now that I'm dancing, who cares if I never stop? and he stands soldier straight and affirms his name out loud and proud, and he says, "Look at me, I am Cornelius Hackle and I am dancing." Cut. Well, gliding gracefully, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it takes a while. And you know, this is a wonderful analogy of the universal creative process working in, as, and through us as we are learning to expand our consciousness of acceptance and receptivity to good and our greater good. You know, historically, as the Waltz started to gain popularity, it was highly criticized on moral grounds due to its close hold stance and its fast-turning movements. Now, religious leaders then regarded it as quite vulgar and sinful, if you can imagine. The dance was criticized to the point where people were threatened with death from waltzing. Now, I would say that our demise might arise by not waltzing. If we don't keep life close, the nature of ourselves and the intimacy with the nature of all, if we don't turn away from the conditions quickly, moving back into the flow of the rhythm of life as infinite possibility, we shall not glide in grace. We are creators, brought forth into existence for the purpose of being self-determining expressions of that which created us. And to deter from this responsibility, I think, is to decline our divinity and the prosperity that exists in our spiritual DNA. Now, for me, there's 3 foundational steps in the waltz. Remember, 1, 2, 3, which can be danced in diverse rhythms and styles depending upon our own uniqueness and where we are at any given time in the creative process as we head towards our intention for a wealthy life experience. 3 foundational steps. Does that remind you of anything? It reminds me of the Holy Triune, the spirit, soul, and body, also stated in our teaching as the seed, the soil, and the plant. The Holy Triune is infinite creative intelligence working within itself to procure more of itself as creation. Now, each 3 parts are spirit, which work in a logical, systematic flow, moving the energy existing as invisible substance through the creative medium of universal law and into visible form. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3 if you let it be, right? Okay, maybe, maybe not. The 3 steps in the waltz, I want to break them down. You know, the first step is a bit of a dip down, where you lean in and you bring up the motion between the shadow to the light, so that we may feel the depth of commitment to meet the uncovered to this point thoughts, belief systems, and bring them to the light of consciousness. Bring all in our subconscious that neutralizes our conscious vision or mental equivalent. The second step, which is a step up. So after that first step down where you dig in, you push up. Now the second step, to me, symbolizes the power of human agency, spiritual authority, where we begin to trust in the process enough to act as if whatever that vision or mental equivalent we want for a prosperous life is happening now. And the third step, that twirling and gliding gracefully, is built upon and is the culmination of the relationship between the first and second steps. The third step for me is accepting all. Knowing that we are in the creative flow and releasing ourselves freely into the infinite universe, which is always moving in divine order and harmony. So, addressing our limited thoughts, moving into the light of our spiritual authority to accept and embrace life as it shows up, seeing God's presence everywhere, moving in divine right order and harmony. The 3 steps of the waltz. Now, before we successfully dance the waltz, where we will glide gracefully and freely, we need to learn a preliminary dance, which I like to refer to as the two-step, or prosperity two-step, in keeping with our theme. Now, these two steps must become automatic, where two or more are gathered. Speaking of where two or more are gathered, what a week. What a week this has been for the United States. The anticipation cloaked in fear for many. The president's results, the election results, the continuing question mark as to what will happen between now and January 20th, 2021, and then what will happen on the world stage after that, certainly can stymie our inclination towards making any dance moves. But, there is dancing in the streets. There is celebration and welcoming in of the ideas, or the ideals, I should say, of kindness and equanimity and respect and heart, and even dogs back in the White House. The potential of light as democracy is on the rise. Also on the rise is the shock, the sadness, and in some cases anger of those whose vote seemed not to bring the result they had most hoped for. We have a ministerial listserv, and anything that comes up on the world stage is always discussed between ministers. And it was certainly on fire this week with philosophical takes on what the closeness of the vote could be telling us all. And most concluded that it is a clear sign that healing and revealing are still the order of the day, and that our work absolutely has just begun. And that work is that we must love even deeper and continue on the path of compassion and honor through inclusive thinking. Inclusive thinking, which is rooted in an and both mindset, releasing the either or, the us, they, the right, wrong way of seeing ourselves in the world. A mindset that can surely only spring from living from the knowing that I am, that God and I are one energy of being. As I recorded this message for you, I am sitting at home in British Columbia, Canada, and it's Remembrance Day. And I'm sitting here with a heart so very full of gratitude as I open to the depths of realization once again why it is that I too have the freedom of thought and choice this day. To vote, to learn, to love, to dance. There were certainly two or more gathered in service to liberty and freedom that created me being right where I am, and I am very grateful. So, if we are in the business of creating a world that works for everyone by awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence, then the power within the gathering of two or more, to me, leads us to inclusive thinking as the inspirational purpose upon which the preliminary prosperity two-step dance must be learned. So step number one in this two-step: prayerful contemplation and consultation. Here we must make space, make it a priority to commune with the God of our understanding, to hold ever so close who and whose we are, and begin to trust the infinite arena in which we live, move, and have our being. It is here in the stillness, in the opening, that crack of light that can be found, and with it a new understanding, I'd like to say, an insight that is needed to move towards the change in our life experience that we desire. It is here we can feel safe enough to lay down our common and uncommon distractions and methods of avoidance so that we can meet and touch into, reveal that which is yearning to be released within our subconscious mind that exists within this spiritual being of light. which often weighs us down and hampers and limits and clouds our sense of and application of our freedom of choice. And step number 2 is about moving your feet. That means taking action that is in alignment with our trusted inner guidance. Here we begin to shift and change how we live our life and the energy with which we present ourselves to life, even when we feel weighed down and not at the top of our game. Moving your feet is not only taking action steps, it is leveraging your voice, speaking your truth to be heard even when you think nobody's listening. Here we create a new vision for our lives and we take a step towards it. And that is one step closer to it than ever before. You know, Dr. Ernest Holmes says and reminds us through his book, The Science of Mind and Spirit, that we must treat and move our feet. So we must pray unceasingly, affirmatively pray unceasingly, and put actions behind our words of prayer. We can use this powerful affirmative prayer to declare and claim our good in life and then show up acting as if it were a done deal. Thinking makes it so. In one's own inner world of experience, but action is what sets the commitment of the mold for sustainable change. And I don't think action without thought may create any result. Maybe some, but I don't think the result will be able to sustain itself because there's really no foundation in the realm of cause. So this is the 2-step dance that we can learn and dance to the tune of increasing prosperity in any and all areas of our life, not just wealth of money, wealth of health, of love, relationship, and so on. Remember, it's the universe that owes us a living. The world does not. And therefore, we must bind ourselves together with this natural universe and its infinite intelligence in order to bring about our prosperity. So we must ask ourselves and be clear on our answer to 3 questions. The first of which is this: what is my relationship with God? With God realization. What is my relationship with my divine natural being? It's a very important question, and I want to share a few thoughts that might help you determine that. God thinks itself into being through love leading its way or inspiring it. God thinks itself into being through a universal creative process, which is count-onable. God thinks itself into being through the law of its being, which is an impersonal, impermeable principle of life. God thinks itself into being through selflessly giving of itself. And God is infinite energy, substance, and form. God is all, everywhere present, at all times. Universally, love is the personalness of God, the self-givingness to its creation. Universally, law is the impersonalness of God, receiving and responding affirmatively to all, and to all that it receives, it responds. This is why the universe owes us a living, and why the 2-step dance must be learnt before the waltz. Now, the second question is this: what is success to me? I think most people equate success with the acquisition of money and or property. I mean, this idea is as old as humankind, but seems to gain momentum with time. In truth, success is highly personal, because success is really about giving full expression to our individual talents and abilities, not about getting anything. And since each person is unique, a unique expression of the infinite, it stands to reason that success is at least somewhat different to all people. So here are a few questions that you might consider contemplating or journaling about. The first one I want to ask you is, do you want to succeed? Do you know what it means for you to succeed? Have you accepted the world blanket definition of success? And how will you know when you succeed? Who will tell you? Who judges whether or not you are a success? And have you ever truly felt that you were successful? Many people who look successful don't feel successful. Could it be that they are successful by the standard definition, but continue to feel dissatisfied and restless because they never took the time to really identify the specific qualities that they want to be successful in expressing? The road to success begins with, I think, recognizing that success is one of the most subjective concepts in the human experience. Wallace says that the desire to realize our innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be, and success in life is becoming what you want to be. It is often the second question that finds us taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Well, I say we can't really ever step back. I don't think it's possible. It is the all-knowing spirit within us that knows it knows that is just causing a pause. A pause in which we can retrieve the gift of stepping back or stepping to the side of our mental and physical busyness, our doing, so that we can just simply be. It is in this being or beingness that we create the necessary objectivity to gain a clearer perspective of where we are in the creative process and determine through our own inner guidance what our next step is to be. I mean, look at the example of a locomotive train, for instance. Say it's traveling at 200 miles an hour. Well, it certainly takes a while to come to a stop after the brake has been pulled. So make certain your step back or pause is adequate in time and space. When we pause, our sense gets a reboot, and our observational and intuitional powers are unplugged, and we begin to see the greater life, the formerly unseen opportunities or solutions which come into light. For instance, visualize this with me. I'm sure in a forest you walked and passed a fallen tree. What do you notice? Do you notice all the activity of life upon it and beneath it and all around it? There's moss, right, all over it. Under the rotting bark is the most fertile dirt, and soon there'll be a world of activity in there. Small green shoots will grow out of the center, and big trees will end up touching the sky one day. But oftentimes we don't see that because we don't observe it. We look at it, but we don't take in its origin, its root, its history, its activity, and its present potential. So when we can't see clearly, or we feel a sense of hopelessness or fear or skepticism that seems to steal us away from our vision for a prosperous life, it might help us to know that scientific principle states this: when conflicting thoughts of differing weight occur within the consciousness of an individual, the most persistent and powerful thought will prevail as the creator of the general experience of the individual. Whereas when conflicting thoughts of approximately equal weight occur within the consciousness of an individual, the thought will essentially take turns as the creator of experience and will result in inconsistencies in experience. So what we want to do is make sure we have that constancy of purpose before us. It ranks really as perhaps the single most important element of success. Persistence is a habit. If you do not currently persist as a matter of habit, then you might want to begin now to cultivate this fundamental element of success. And success requires that we hold stubbornly to ideals which we embrace and ideas which move us towards the realization of those ideals. We must not allow ourselves to be attached to past decisions or ideas if, in the light of current circumstance, they no longer serve our purpose. Because of this, here is the third question. What is it you expect from life? And what do you truly think is possible for yourself? So when you get through step 1, which is that prayerful consideration and contemplation, and step 2, which is taking action steps and acting as if that which you desire is already made manifest in your life. And when you have asked yourself those 3 questions, do you remember what they were? The first of which was, what does success mean to me? What does success mean to me? And the second question is, what is my relationship with God? And the third question, what do I expect out of life? And when you've done these things, then you are ready to start learning how to waltz. I mean, how many times a day do we cross the great divide from what is wholly known within us and what we temporarily seek after in order to make ourselves and our lives feel whole? In our attempt to waltz gracefully through life, remember, it's okay to pause and refresh yourselves and take a drink of water. Wisdom will say, do not let the pause turn into procrastination or doubt as you wait for some outer sign or symbol in order to pick up where you left off in the dance. So I'd like to allow, if you'd allow me, just to illustrate this idea in a metaphorical story called Waiting for a Sweet Pepper. It's kind of a fun one. One day, Nasruddin was sitting in the market in front of a big basket of red-hot chili peppers. He had tears streaming down his cheeks. His eyes were bloodshot, his face were red, and his nose was running. But he kept eating them, one after another after another. Now, every now and then, he let out a big howl because they were so hot. So one of his students approached him and said, "What on earth are you doing? Why do you keep eating them?" And Nasruddin turned to him and very simply said, "Because I am waiting for the sweet one." So what will stop this crazy habit of our mind chatter? The distraction that appears even more intensely in the pauses. A Zen master says, we human beings retain all things we see and hear, and at certain times these things are reflected back to us in precise detail. So as long as we don't involve ourselves with them and just let them be, they can't stop us. Then it's the same as if they never arose in the first place. If I am in a pause to refresh and all of a sudden I'm feeling, which does happen, especially now when I'm moving, lethargic and shut down, this is one of the visuals I bring into my heart. Imagine you're deep in a cave and water is dripping on a stone. And it drips over years and years and years and centuries and ions. And finally, a hole is made. And through the hole comes light and the wind and the ability to see through to the other side. And just the fact that the hole can be made at all gives me faith. And that's my sweet pepper. So in the current state of your finances, of your wealth in life, that is the result of thoughts and ideas and beliefs which are currently operating as a spiritual prototype of your experience, coupled with the actions we have taken in the past. You know, our future financial circumstances, or wealth, will be the results of our thoughts and ideas and beliefs we currently hold, coupled with the actions we take now. And since we can choose both our thoughts and our actions, we are therefore in control of our future circumstance. I love that the fundamental principle of our whole teaching is that we live in a self-existent universe. We are self-sustaining, self-energizing, self-perpetuating, and self-knowing and self-acting, and that the entire manifestation of life exists for the delight of its creator. We are not here to get saved. We are not lost. We are not here to glorify God, because God isn't that much out of material. We are here to express that which is. And that is what counts for all of those inward feelings that everyone has, that are nebulous and incoherent at times, sometimes nearer the surface and other times but a steady persistence back of all things. It's an urge that we have to live and to sing and to create and to dance and to express life. You know, wealth is not the result of some superior intellect. It is not only available to people who have large incomes. Wealth, as the accumulation of money or any other relational state, depends on two things: a consciousness that can accept wealth and a habit of managing money wisely. In other words, how well have you learned and executed the prosperity two-step, treat and move your feet, so that you may add in that third step and dance as the waltz? I'd like to conclude with a treatment written by my dear colleague, Reverend Michelle Wadley, who is the author of Prosperous Me, the course I'm teaching right now. So would you join me and know this? Life is my source. Life is my one source. Life is my one and only source. Nothing that happens around me can distract me from this truth. I am always guided and informed by this intelligence, and all that life knows that applies to me is known through me. This is good and very good. I am never outside of life. I am never outside of the arms of life, the thinking of life, or the love of life. This is my heart, my mind, and my soul. Experiencing this trust at the very core of my being, I am always inspired. I am moved and motivated by this intelligence. My dreams are fully inspired. My business decisions are grounded, logical, and intelligent. And as I build my consciousness, my actions are driven from that expanded consciousness. I never confuse being busy with being effective. Each day begins and ends with my practice, which keeps me plugged into the flow of guidance. I am a prospering human of high inspiration, intellect, and bountiful success in all endeavors. Everything I touch prospers now. This is my truth, and no other truth is more important or more real than this. This is known deep in my subconscious. This is known as my all-conscious. This is who I am. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning, friends. We have 3 opportunities for connection this week. After the service today, if you're viewing this on Sunday morning, we will have our after chat at 11 a.m. Then, very special event for us, on Thursday evening, our band director, Alicia, will be doing a living room concert. There is no charge for this. However, donations would be gratefully accepted by Alicia. Also, on Wednesday, we're having our happiness hour discussing a cornucopia of miracles. That will be at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, as Alicia's concert will be at 7 p.m. on Thursday. Hope you can take advantage of the opportunity to connect with us at one of these events.
So now I invite you into a personal investment that I like to call sacred and faithful giving, knowing that there is an infinite flow of prosperity and abundance that is operating in, through, and as us at all times, no matter our present circumstances. In this, we can open our consciousness of acceptance by giving with a grateful heart. And you know, when our souls are fed by the practice of giving, we can be certain that our gift will bless both the giver and the receiver many times over. So for your convenience, we provide you with various ways in which to make your donation. You can click on the box at the top of the screen. You can donate on our website or via Zelle. Or if you are more inclined and are more comfortable, you can simply mail a check into our office location. This is our new address. We receive and appreciate your tithes and your gifts. You know, we thank you so much for supporting us in remaining a vital and vibrant and thriving center in which you can find your spiritual nourishment. So I invite you now to affirm your prosperity through the power of your own word by saying this with me. I attract all good things into being. The power of my faith enhances my experience of health, relationship, finance, fulfillment, passion, purpose, and joy. The creative source in my life is in a constant state of perfection, freely giving itself as my bounty. And so it is. And now, our offering song.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
And now for our benediction. Will you join me in prayer? We've been blessed by your presence here today, and by the presence of all those who have come from far and wide to join us this morning to remember that Spirit is who they are. All is well here. And we know that the source of all the creative mind and spirit is moving within the life of me, of you, of all humanity in divine right action and divine right timing. It gives of itself fully and freely, guiding, guarding, and directing our lives, and allowing us and calling forward in us that opportunity to expand our loving expression, no matter the conditions that we perceive in life. We give thanks for living in such an abundant universe. We give thanks that there's enough for all, and that we are enough just the way we are. We give thanks that the universe is receptive, that is affirmatively responsive, and that it is our nature and our divine inheritance to live abundantly and live an abundant life. We affirm our capacity to demonstrate our faith through the giving of our time, through the giving of our talents and our treasures without measure. We never miss an opportunity to affirm that the infinite source of supply lives right within us, right where we are, and that we have full access to it. There is a power for good in this universe, and we can choose to use it. Life is a blessing, and so are we, and so it is. Amen.
To be humble, to be kind, it is a giving of the peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And to be bold, to be brave, it is the thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The danger's in the anger and in the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see, a world that's full of endless possibility. And heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace,